I moved into the old house on Mulberry Street because it was cheap, far too cheap for its size and location. I should have known something was wrong, but I needed a fresh start, and it seemed perfect at the time. The first night was quiet, too quiet. The house seemed to absorb sound, making every creak and groan echo ominously, but I brushed it off, telling myself it was just the house settling, just normal old house noises. On the second night, I heard a scratching. It started around midnight, a faint, repetitive sound coming from inside the walls. I assumed it was rats or mice, though the thought of them being so close made my skin crawl. I promised myself I'd call an exterminator in the morning, but the sound kept me up all night. By the third night, the scratching had grown louder, more desperate. It wasn't just in the walls anymore. It was above me, below me, all around me. I couldn't tell where it was coming from, and no matter where I went in the house, it followed. I tried to sleep, but it was impossible. I could hear it so clearly, like nails dragging across wood, insistent and unnerving. I banged on the walls, yelled at whatever was making the noise, but it only seemed to anger it. The scratching turned to pounding, as if something, or someone, was trapped inside, trying to get out. My heart raced as I realized that the noise wasn't just around me, it was getting closer. On the fourth night, I woke to a new sound, a whispering, soft but insistent, coming from the same walls that had been scratched and pounded on. I couldn't make out the words, but the tone was urgent, almost pleading. I pressed my ear to the wall, and the whispering grew louder, more frantic. It was begging for something, but I didn't know what. Then the whispers stopped, and for a moment, there was silence. I thought maybe it was finally over, but then I felt it, a vibration beneath my feet. I looked down and saw the floorboards tremble, as if something was underneath, trying to break through. I bolted out of bed, my mind racing. I had to get out of the house. Whatever was in the walls wasn't natural. It wasn't something that could be explained by rats or the wind, or any of the excuses I'd been telling myself. I grabbed my keys and ran for the door, but as I reached for the doorknob, the whispering returned, this time right in my ear. "Stay," it hissed, cold and venomous. I froze, paralyzed by fear. The air around me grew heavy, thick with a presence I couldn't see but could feel, pressing down on me, suffocating me. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw movement. The walls, the very walls of the house, began to shift and bulge, as if something inside was pushing against them, trying to break free. Cracks spider-webbed across the plaster, and from those cracks, something black and oily began to seep out. I couldn't move, couldn't scream. The walls groaned and shuddered, and then, with a sickening crunch, they started to split open. From the gaps, something emerged, something dark, twisted, and wrong. It was a mass of writhing limbs and contorted faces, mouths open in silent screams. I stumbled backward, my mind reeling. This couldn't be real. This had to be a nightmare. But the thing in the walls was all too real, and it was coming for me. The faces in the walls turned toward me, their eyes empty, their mouths stretching wide, as they whispered in unison, "You can't leave." My survival instinct kicked in, and I ran. I bolted out of the house into the cold night air, and didn't stop until I was far down the street. I looked back once, just once, and saw the house looming in the darkness, the front door hanging open like a gaping maw. I didn't go back. I couldn't. Whatever was in that house could have it. I wanted nothing to do with it. I moved away, far away, to another city, another life. But at night, in the silence, I still hear the scratching, the whispering, and I know. It's only a matter of time before it finds me again.